Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there and welcome. This is the show where we explore topics that help you create your lifestyle to live full and work fun. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by my co-host, Fran Groesbeck. Hey, Fran, how you doing?
Hey, Gayla.
Oh my goodness. For the last few weeks, we've talked about getting inspired through events, having all of these ideas generated, but then we need the importance of planning. What are we going to do with all of these ideas that are generated? Then we talk about processes. Today, we're talking about implementing. I mean, you can have all of these great ideas, but they don't do any good unless you actually implement them.
I agree 100% that what is that? The best laid plans. But the steps you've talked about, whether it be events or other inspirations, you know that this is the next, when you know what your goals are, and then you create the plans. Plans and processes go hand in hand. And plans and processes also bring in another P, which is what to prioritize and advance that vision.
What to prioritize to advance that vision. Perfectly said, because we as entrepreneurs, we are like little butterflies with all of these ideas, and we put our team through the ringer on, well, let's do this, and we're going to follow this shiny object and then follow this shiny object. And I don't know about you, but I work with clients the same way. That is just the nature of being an entrepreneur, because you have all of these ideas that you want to try, and you need to have somebody that's more grounded, right? To say, okay, we've got this going on that we're in the middle of implementing. Where's the priority? Or does it fit in this goal? Has goals shifted? Or we need to table this and completely finish this other plan that we're in the middle of implementing.
It's an excellent point. When processes also help you see, and it ties to what we use in our system, now, next, and future. A process helps you see what is now, next, and future, because you'll go, oh, well, I can't do this process till this other process is done. And this process can't happen till those two processes are done. Well, you just mapped out your now, next, and future. you know which one is what has to happen, right? What's the right next step to advance the plan? So processes can really help in a very quick way clarify what's next.
Well, big or small, there are projects that just need to be chunked down and to kind of plan out and have reasonable goals set to the tiny steps. All right. So a big project, I mean, you may have this idea. It's like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to write a book. Okay. Writing a book, and book is only a 4-letter word. I mean, it is a small word, but it is a huge project, because writing a book it's like, oh, I'm going to do this. So by next week, I'm going to have this book, and then it's all going to be done. I say that example because I work with several people that, it's like a book is in me and I want to get it out. Well, to accomplish that, you have to actually write an outline, chunk this down, devote time, either every day, every week, whatever, to write the pieces. And that may take weeks or months, depending, just
or years.
Whatever, or years, right? There's editing. There's the formatting of the book, to actually publish all the steps. The book launch is a whole other type of thing. That is a huge project. So having that big idea that I want to write a book, having clear, achievable objectives in smaller chunks is super important to move yourself along on actually implementing and those smaller steps to achieve the bigger goal.
Gayla, what you just touched on made me think of something I read this morning. Plans and processes make the impossible possible. So if you have someone wanting to write a book, they will often let the start stop them because they think, oh, I know I have this book inside of me, but how the heck am I going to do this? How do you publish? How do you do this? How do you do that? When you write a plan, like you said, simple first step, write an outline, or just not even a formal outline, write a brief on what you want this book to be about, something that gives the vision definition. And then the next step, commit to a certain amount of time, a day or a week, that you start writing. Again, you build the steps to make that vision real. You have to be prepared, though, when you come up with an idea, that not every idea happens overnight. And you have to be prepared that even as the plan evolves, obstacles may pop up. But having those plans and processes in place suddenly turn what feels like the impossible into very possible. And we all have examples of this, of things we've achieved, especially those of us who just we started a business. If you would have asked the me 10 years before I did that, if I was ever going to do that, I would have thought that was impossible. But because of plans and processes, it became possible. So I think that when you know what the project is and what the goal is, that's where plans and processes really come to help you make that step from the idea to getting to the goal.
And chunking that down, your plan down, and the future things, like in my example of writing a book, in your plan, promoting the book or, having the book launch, you don't have to know the details of all of that or even worry about that at the time, at the very beginning. It's just an overall umbrella and of the book launch, book promotion type thing. And you may just have an outline. It's like, oh, a landing page is needed. This, all, just don't even worry about the details of how. It's just like brainstorming in your plan what you think may need to happen. And for you, it may need to look and hire somebody to promote this book launch. And then you write that plan separately, that implementation. And within each of this overall plan, there are many, so MANY, implementation strategies and plans for the overall overarching goal. And being able to outline those things in the plan, you're able to assign responsibilities and deadlines and adjusting when necessary. And I know with websites, for example, I'm going to shift my example to website development, outlining a plan of what's going to be happening within a month, maybe design this particular page, maybe at first create the brand narrative and then create the outline of the website, then concentrate on wireframing just this page at this time, breaking it down by weeks and kind of future casting on when you'll do what. It helps you come back to, it's like, oh, we're behind on this. This needs to be rearranged, or originally you think that this step needs to happen right here, but in reality, it does not fit there because what you did in this step, your realization that the order of your implementation makes sense in a different manner.
Gayla, that is so important to be flexible in your planning and your processes because, and we say this here with adapt and flow, it's if I can, I will, if I can't, I'll adapt. Adapt. When you hit that point, I love what we went through that. We're going through that with a client. We had what we thought was a certain priority in this systems transition. turned out that actually needed we got into it, realized there was a lot more to it. So we shifted priorities. It's still on the docket, it's still in work, but we realized, okay, we don't want to hold up these other steps till this is done. So we're going to bump this one up, still work on this other task, but we're going to bump up this priority and put more resources into that to get that off the ground and get that launched. That willingness to flow, don't let an obstacle become so big that you can't see a way around it or over it or how to adapt. When you hit that, go, okay, this needs more resources, this needs more time, this whatever, wherever this falls, or that there is more to it than I thought. Maybe it shifts to a future idea. And now you focus on the other things, keeping every step of the way, you keep that idea of how do I keep this moving forward? How do I keep this moving forward? And that's your whole goal. And no step is too small. If you hit an obstacle and the next step you take seems like you're just grabbing low-hanging fruit, it's still something that had to happen. So it's good that it happened. Or if you hit an obstacle where you're not sure how to solve it, put it in the future bucket. You're not sure how to find a PR person. You're not sure how to self-publish. You're not sure how to find a publisher, going back to the book, or even website design. You've ended up dumping on your website for years and you don't know how to clean up all the links and how to pull it all together. Take a step back and figure out what's the right first step that you can move forward with. I love what you said about that don't let an obstacle or a bump or a challenge that you encounter stop you. Look at what you can do. Keep looking at what you can do.
And the importance of finishing. Sometimes, yes, you might need to shift, but we as entrepreneurs, because we have so many ideas going and we want everything done like now, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And we get frustrated with ourselves, or maybe just, it's like, why can't this move faster? But taking a deep breath and pausing and just saying to yourself, let me finish this one thing, get it off of my plate, either delegated or done, like an automation done, a template written, a process done, to get it off the plate so you don't have to redo it all every time, or it's stopping another step. Or if this step is not done, it makes the future steps or these other pieces not work so well, because you're working from maybe both ends of the candle. And it's not a linear move.
You know, Gayla, when you mentioned finish, beware of perfectionism. And sometimes finish isn't always perfect, but as long as it's good and you've done what you need to do to move on to the next step, it's really important. Like, every step doesn't always work out exactly how you envisioned it, because things come up that you'll learn along the way. So being flexible with yourself and the plan is important. I do love the idea of finishing because it is also giving yourself some success. Feeling of success keeps you motivated to keep trying and keep working on the plan. So there's a lot to that point that you're saying. Take a task, knock it out of the park, beware of multitasking, beware of going down a rabbit hole, keep it realistic, get it done. And then when you finish it, also take a breath and say, okay, then take a step back and look, okay, did finishing that step impact anything else? Did it actually, sometimes you finish a step and you realized it helped address a step you thought you had to do. And now you actually got 2 steps done. You might have learned something in that process, or it might have added something and now you got to put that in the plan. Either way, take a moment to recognize the success of completing a step. It's not the destination, it's the journey, right? But finishing those tasks will empower you because it's their little successes that really build the confidence that you'll get this done.
Absolutely. And in the midst of working in your business, sometimes, and a lot of times, it is beneficial to move forward to get an outside perspective. Maybe hire a consultant, hire a coach to help you stay on task, on target, to implement something that you really want to implement. And we do that, help our clients implement stages or big processes or just to achieve their goals. And we either implement for them their vision, or we can coach to help them stay on target and move forward. And I know that just implementing things for my own business, I tend to put that priority down to the bottom and work my clients first. Well, that can be detrimental, right? So, as business owners, if you want to grow and you're so deep into your clients' work and you need to step back for your own business building, that's why you and I have our Grow and Soar coaching together, and we work together to focus on our business building tactics so that we can grow our business. And if we don't work on our business, then client shifting, then an income may not be there. If our client shifts, evolves, the project is done, and we don't do the work to have a good stream of new clients or do those business building things that we want to do and stay on target with that, then our business becomes a huge roller coaster with huge valleys and peaks. And to stabilize that, having a coach or a consultant to draw you out of the everyday so that you can work on your business is wonderful.
It really is. What we have has, but we have as we have similar ways of thinking and how we work. So it really was synergy from the start. There's something about having that coach, that accountability partner to keep you focused on your business. And it's similar to when we talked about in Trust Builder and prioritizing yourself and self-care. Caring for your business is a form of self-care when you're a business owner. When you continue to put clients first, and Gayla, you pulled me out of a terrible period a couple of years ago where I was actually, my daily work mindset was that my top customer was like a separate business. And I was operating them as if they were separate from 10 Touch. And I had this mindset of treating them like above or different. I can't even remember where my head was at because I brought myself back down to earth. All of my clients are important, and your top client will always take a good amount of your resources and time. But it's like any of those goals we talked about, like writing a book, creating a website, whatever the goal may be for your business. If you don't set a little time aside for, okay, how is my business growing? How is it evolving? And we do evolve and change all the time. You will find yourself in an unfortunate position one day when client shift happens, because then your back will be against the wall. Oh my gosh, what do I do now? So really carving out time, and not talking about you're going to give your business 30 hours and your client 30 hours. You're going to give your business a good amount of time each week where you give it some thought, you think about your plans, or maybe it's just per month and you sit down, you have this block of time that you think, okay, how are we doing? I have my strategy, I have my plan, I know what needs to happen, and you're just thinking through where I'm headed. It's a really important step.
It is. And not biting off more than you can chew.
That's what
Right?
that future bucket's all about. The things that pop up, and we love to dream, right? As business owners, put them in the future bucket. Put them in the future.
Don't let those ideas go. Have a
Right.
means to have them in that future bucket, because you're going to circle back around. I have had some ideas that from, oh my gosh, 5 years ago that it fits now in what I'm doing in my business. And it's funny how that is happening. But you may not be ready right now in your business to implement that thing because it doesn't make sense because you need to do some other things. But I know when it's natural to feel frustrated because you want all of these things done and you see yourself in this future and you're frustrated because you feel like you're in this messy middle right now. I think it's important to, I say this a lot, but we do need to pause. right? And see what's been accomplished so far and celebrate those wins.
I could not agree more, Gayla. The slowest, smoothest, fast, going slowly and taking that pause, catching your breath, and taking a look at what's been done. I always love that saying, bull in a china shop, when that you can have that visual of the bull running through and just knocking everything over and trying to get out the door. If they'd slow down, they actually probably wouldn't knock anything over. And that's what we don't want to do when we rush. We don't want to ignore, or what you might end up ignoring when you rush are the things that aren't working, and you're hitting your head against a wall trying to get this done when you're not seeing that the way you're trying to do it, there's actually a better way around it, over it, under it, whichever way you go. But that pause helps you see what worked, know what didn't work, and know what to avoid going forward. And the last part of it, like you said, celebrate that's what did work and what succeeded. Or even if you just realized there was a whole bunch of stuff that didn't work, celebrate that you recognized it, right? Or I don't like using the word mistakes. I use the word falls or bumps. They're the greatest lessons. So, and for those of us who then work with clients, it's something you'll bring to the client because it's so now personally ingrained in you, this lesson that you learned.
I love that, Fran. And with you being a strategist, strategy specialist, strategy coach, and I'm an implementation specialist and consultant on that, we really pair up very well. But I encourage all of our listeners just to drop down to our show notes section and follow us. And if you need help in getting your strategy, sometimes just having that sounding board, getting some coaching sessions in to say, okay, I just need help breaking this down, or I need help implementing this because this is huge. And I know that if I am able to implement this one thing, I could do it more quickly if I had someone on my right-hand side just helping along the way. I encourage you also to go into the Live Full Work Fun Facebook group. And we all have challenges in implementation. Even what we do, it's a work in progress, right? And our plans evolve, and you might feel like you're in the messy middle. Just go to the Facebook group and share your biggest takeaway from today's show. We would love to hear from you. Fran, do you have any words of encouragement to our listeners?
I know the word plans can be overwhelming, especially for those of us who come from a corporate culture, but you got this. You've got this. We're here for you. And we can't wait to hear what success is, as well as what challenges people have faced in creating and implementing their plans. So can't wait to see what the listeners come back with.
Awesome. Well, this episode is almost rounding out our season 8, the Grow and Soar season of the Live Full Work Fun podcast. So I encourage everyone to tune in next week because we're going to have our season closer and talk about a little bit of what's going to happen and what we're going to talk about next season. So everyone, thanks for listening. And until next time, remember, live full, work fun. This episode has been brought to you by Scrivener Social, the easy-to-use social scheduling platform built for the busy solopreneur. You deserve a system that makes posting to your social media faster and more efficient. Go to scrivenersocial.com and subscribe today.